I'll admit that it's usually the groom who takes a runner, but maybe she has cold feet. Maybe she just needs a breather before everything gets underway." Professor Maxwell gazed at Veronica silently. "Perhaps you're correct. Dubois, did you hear anything in the night? I'm afraid I slept soundly." "What about the alarm system?" I asked. Dubois glanced at Professor Maxwell. "We didn't turn it on. With so many guests in the house, we were afraid someone might trigger it if they wandered out for a breath of fresh air or for a cigarette. I believe a few of them are smokers." Professor Maxwell turned to look at my clock collection. "We'll give her 2 hours. If she hasn't called or turned up, then we'll go to the police." I wondered if he was thinking about Jackie's previous disappearance. Jackie was Jacqueline Liebhaber, the well-known romance and women's fiction author. She had been Professor Maxwell's second wife. They had one child, a girl named Caroline, who had been kidnapped at a young age and never found. The loss of Caroline had worked its way between them, with Jackie pursuing psychics and John partaking in wild adventures, all of which eventually led to divorce. Years later, when Jackie found herself in a troubling situation, she sought John's help, which brought the two of them together again. That time, she had been missing for days. Her agent had been so worried that she hired a private detective to find Jackie. That she had vanished before was concerning, yet something of a relief as well. It worried me because I hated to imagine that she had had a change of heart about the professor and was now an aging runaway bride. He would be devastated. She could at least have told one of us so we wouldn't worry all day, wondering if we should cancel the minister and wedding accoutrements. I nodded and hoped I sounded reassuring when I said, "I bet she turns up." Professor Maxwell stiffened. "I'm going out to look for her." "I shall stay by the phone in case she calls," said Mr. Dubois, holding up a wireless landline phone, as though it were proof of his intentions. The minute the professor was gone, Mr. Dubois said, "I'll bring coffee over." Half an hour later, he rolled a serving cart into the carriage house. Coffee turned out to be croissants, eggs Benedict, and a fruit salad in jewel tones. The red, oranges, and greens glistened under a sauce. "I have left a buffet at the mansion for the few late-rising guests." Mr. Dubois had been formal but polite to me when I moved into the carriage house, but he made no secret of his disdain for my cat Peaches. Since then, Peaches and I had wormed our way into his good graces. Veronica vaulted toward the table and picked up a croissant. "Oh, my! Does the professor eat like this every day?" Mr. Dubois tisked at her. "Do you think I serve him boxed cereal and cold milk?" He busied himself, placing a covered plate in my oven. For a moment, Veronica appeared chastened, but her humor returned quickly. "How the other half live, eh?" The three of us sat down to eat. Even though I was busy being indulged, I noticed that Mr. Dubois wasn't eating. "I, may have notified the police," he said quietly. "Sort of. Not really. Not officially, you understand." Veronica choked on her breakfast. In between coughs, she croaked, "You didn't! You know how they feel about the press. If they get wind of this—" Mr. Dubois poured more coffee for her. Normally, a missing bride wouldn't be of much interest to anyone outside the families and friends involved. But Jackie's books sold worldwide. "How would one unofficially notify the police?" I inquired. "One might have phoned a friend on the police force." Veronica's eyes grew large. "Florrie and I aren't properly dressed yet." She jumped to her feet, but it was too late. Someone wrapped